that God is giving to him, he sees something falling out of the sky into the ocean, and he says, it's like a mountain on fire coming through the sky, crashing into the sea. What would that be? Not just any asteroid, right? This is a giant asteroid, and its impact is so great that it affects, it says, a third of the sea. Now, we don't know which ocean it crashes into, but we do know that it affects, it says, a third of them. So, governments that are still in operation during this time, they will have been notified about this coming asteroid. Astronomers have been looking into the sky through their telescopes. They've been speculating about, okay, is it going to hit Earth or is it going to miss Earth? If it's going to hit, where is it going to hit? How much time do we have before it hits? People who still have access to television or radio, they'll tune in and they'll hear people giving the latest details about the asteroid and where it's going to hit and when it's going to hit. And as we see here, it says it's going to strike the sea. And it tells us that a third of the ocean will become blood. How is that? How does 1/3 of the oceans on this planet become blood? Well, how much sea life is destroyed? 1/3. A third of the sea life are killed. So imagine you go to the beach and you're looking out over the ocean, and what are you going to see? You're going to see dead floating fish all over the place. And there's going to be so much death, billions and billions of sea life destroyed, so much so that it's not merely going to smell like blood. It will be blood in the water. Now also, when this asteroid hits, what's going to happen when this asteroid hits the water? There's going to be a tsunami, like the world has never seen. Now, there's going to be a lot of ships in the water. There's going to be military ships, there's going to be cargo ships, there's going to be ships transporting people. And this tsunami, there's going to be aircraft carriers serving in the military of the Antichrist. There's going to be cargo ships carrying food and supplies. There's going to be ships transporting people. Remember, there's a famine. There's going to be lots of folks fishing in the water, trying to find food to eat. A third of the ships in this world are going to be capsized. They're going to be destroyed. Thousands and thousands of people are going to drown and sink to the bottom of the ocean. Then the third trumpet. Verse 10. The third angel sounded, and a great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch. And it fell on a third of the rivers and on the springs of waters. Now, this is similar to the second trumpet, but different. In the second trumpet, you've got one giant asteroid remaining intact and striking one location in the world. Well, in this asteroid, it evidently, as it enters into the atmosphere, it begins to break into pieces. And God personally guides those pieces of asteroids so that they land in what? A third of the rivers and springs of waters. In other words, a third of the world's fresh water sources have these pieces of asteroid land in them. Now you say, no big deal. A rock from outer space landing in the water, no problem. Except for verse 11, the name of this star is what? Wormwood. And a third of the waters became wormwood, and many men died from the waters because they were made bitter. Now, what does it mean that the water became wormwood? Wormwood is a shrub. And it is historically famous because it is used in the making of an alcoholic drink called absinthe. In the early 1900s, countries like the United States, France, Switzerland, many others, they actually outlawed this drink from being in their country. The symptoms, or the report said that it caused bizarre psychotic behavior, hallucinations, sudden delirium, convulsions, suicide, and death. This drink was causing an epidemic of this, and so they outlawed it. What they later discovered is that the ingredient in this drink causing the deadly symptoms is an ingredient called thujon. All right? And today, people still use thujon in small doses as a hallucinogenic drug. You're probably wondering, why in the world does the preacher know about this? Ricky told me. The point is that 1/3 of the world's waters are going to be poisoned with the bombardment of these pieces of asteroid. And these pieces of asteroid are going to be substances that have been divinely tainted by God. And as people drink the waters, what's going to happen? They're going to die. There will be slow, grueling deaths all across the world. The many people in the areas that have been affected, they'll either die from the poisoning, or they'll say, well, the water's a poison, I'm not drinking the water. So then they'll die of dehydration. I mean, people will have two options. You either go and find collected water, or you move away to some other area where the waters have not been affected. Both of those are going to be very hard things to do. Then it gets even more scary. Verse 12, the fourth angel sounded, and 1/3 of the sun, and 1/3 of the moon, and 1/3 of the stars were struck, so that 1/3 of them would be darkened, and the day would not shine for 1/3 of it, and the night in the same way. Now, easier way to understand this, the sun, the moon, and the stars, they stopped working by 33%. 33% of their functioning is shut down. So just think about the sun. 1/3 of the sun shuts down. So the world loses 33% of its light. What else do we receive from the sun? Not only do we receive light, we also receive what? Heat. So temperatures all across the world are going to drop 33%. So what does that mean? A lot of folks in this world are going to die of freezing to death. Freezing to death. People are going to be trying to collect wood, burn fires, keep the families warm. Well, that's going to be harder to do because remember, 1/3 of the earth back in the first trumpet, 1/3 of the world just got burned up, right? 1/3 of the trees just got burned up. Not only will people be killed, but also what crops are left are going to be destroyed. Livestock will be destroyed. You know, it's amazing. The world just went from volcanic lava, raining fire, a burning world, and then now the world is freezing, just like that. And in this, verse 13, here's where we'll wrap it up. Then I looked, and I heard an eagle flying in mid-heaven. Now, what in the world is mid-heaven? The Bible talks about 3 different heavens. The first heaven is the atmosphere, the sky. The second heaven is outer space. And then the third heaven is the capital H heaven where God dwells. All right? Now, the mid-heaven then would be which heaven? The first, second, or third? Second. So, let's read it like this then. Then I looked and I heard an eagle flying in outer space. Now, what is this eagle? Some people say, well, it's a real eagle. Some say it's an angel. As a matter of fact, the King James Version took the liberty to translate it as such. The fact of the matter is, we don't know. What we do know is that it is a supernatural creature. If this is an eagle, it ain't like any eagle you've ever seen. Amen? This is some supernatural being that God has created for this task. Now here's what he's doing flying around in space. He's saying with a loud voice, "Woe, woe, woe." In other words, warning, warning, warning. Now who's he warning? Warning to those who dwell on the earth. All you folks who are still alive on earth. You haven't died in the world war. You haven't died in the famine. You haven't died of disease. You haven't died of the earthquake. You haven't died of the asteroid bombardment. You're still alive. You're still rejecting God. You need to be warned. Why? Because of the remaining blast of the trumpet of the 3 angels who are about to sound. Remember, there's 7 trumpets. We just read through 4. 7 minus 4, 3 trumpets left. He's saying, warning to y'all, because things are not going to get better from here. They're going to get what? They're going to get worse. Now, here is the crazy thing to me. Here, God is going out of His way to warn this world. Now, whatever this creature is, it is in space, and it is making an announcement to the whole world. Now, can the whole world visibly see Him? I don't know. Can the whole world hear Him? Yes. Everybody can definitely hear what this creature is saying. And what he's saying is, there's more judgment coming Implication being, you need to do what? You need to get right with God. So they see this. There's no question that, okay, God is sending this message to us. Here's the amazing thing. Most of the world still chooses to reject God. Later on in chapter 9, it says, the rest of mankind who were not killed by these plagues, they're still alive during the tribulation. They did not repent of the works of their hands. Have you ever known a lost person that they've had chance after chance? There's been event after event happened in their life that would make you think, man, if there's ever been a time they're going to get saved, they're going to get saved now. And then they don't get saved. You ever know somebody like that? I think about the Pharisees in the New Testament. Jesus comes on the scene. And he's walking on the water, y'all. He's controlling the weather. He's casting out demons. He's making paralyzed people get up and walk. He's making deaf people hear. He's making blind people see. He's doing things that no ordinary man can do. It is obvious that he is God in the flesh. Here's what the Pharisees said. This is the conclusion they came to. They said, oh yeah, he does supernatural works all right, but he does what he does by the power of Satan. One time they came to Jesus and they said, all right, Jesus, one more sign. You do one more sign, then we'll believe you. Do one more little supernatural trick, then we will believe you. You know what Jesus said? He said, this evil and adulterous generation craves for a sign. Well, guess what? You're not getting one. Except, I'll give you one more. Sign of Jonah. What do you mean, sign of Jonah? Well, just like Jonah was in the belly of the earth for 3 days, so the Son of Man, he was in the belly of the fish for 3 days, so the Son of Man will be in the belly of the earth for 3 days, and then I'll rise again. And what did Jesus do? Exactly what he said he was going to do. Now, y'all, Jesus healing the sick, and Jesus walking on water, that's one thing. But now a dead man raising himself from the dead. Surely they thought, well now, if he does that, I'll believe then. He raised from the dead. What did the Pharisees do? They ignored it and spread a conspiracy theory. Now if you're here today and you're lost, I want to talk to you heart to heart. I have been exactly where you're at. And I want to ask you, what about you? Do you think you're any better than the Pharisees? They received revelation from God, and even though it was so clear, they rejected it. Do you think you're better than them? Do you think you're better than these people at the end of time when they see sign after sign after sign and they still reject God? Do you think you're any better than them? You're here today, and listen, I've been where you're at, so I know God is dealing with your heart. You know that God is dealing with your heart. There is sin in your life. You know that there's sin in your life because you're a sinner. You know in your heart that if you died right now and stood before God at judgment, He would send you to hell, because how many sins does it take to go to hell? Just one. You know you need Jesus. You know you need forgiveness. You know you need salvation. What's the holdup? What is keeping you back? Whatever your excuse is, the fact that you still reject Him shows that you're just like these people that will be at the end of time. Just like them. In the book of Hebrews, he says this: how shall we escape hell if we neglect so great a salvation? God went above and beyond to make your salvation possible. He gave up His only begotten Son. He provided you with a great salvation. How in the world will you escape hell if you continue to reject Him? The answer is, you won't. Now, if you continue to reject Him, the time will come when He stops inviting. And when God stops inviting you, when God stops drawing you, can you be saved? You can't be saved. Your opportunity will be over. Hebrews says this: today, if you hear His voice, do not harden your heart. Let today be the day that you just give up and give in and run to Jesus. Father, thank you for this time that you've given us together this morning. And Jesus, we thank you so much for the salvation that you have provided for us. Lord, thank you that you're going to raptured us before all these awful things take place. Thank you that we're going to be enjoying you and enjoying heaven as all this is going on. But Lord, I pray that this will put a burden on our hearts. There's people all around us that the rapture happened today, they would be here. They would be left to endure the horrors of the tribulation, but then even worse, they would spend their eternity enduring the agonies of hell. God, please put a burden on our hearts so that we would feel compelled to share the gospel with anybody and everybody. And for those of us here that are saved, that are on our way to heaven, Lord, help us to just be so thankful and so grateful. Help us to come before you this morning and just tell you thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.